Baby, the only drugs we putting in our system over here is raspberry detox tea and NutriBurst so we can be flirty, fun, and fine this spring and the summer. Drop down in the description box and click this link to buy this tea before you get this tea. Bye. Nessa girl, I done woke up at 1 o'clock this morning from one of the worst hangovers I've ever had in my life, and hopefully it will be the last. And the internet is broke. The whole internet is broke. Between Cicely Tyson death and this new Bill Cosby, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell, R. Kelly situation that T.I. and Tiny have found themselves in, the whole internet is broke. I ain't even want to talk about it, but we gotta talk about it. So here you go. Nessa girl, good morning, and I wish I was coming to y'all under some better circumstances, but this T.I. and Tiny story has weighed heavy on my mind and on my heart as we begin to uncover a lot of these allegations of sexual misconduct involving drugging girls, coercing girls into sex, trafficking girls, even having sex with some underage girls going on between T.I. and Tiny. So the story goes, Keisha Lance Bottoms crowns T.I. in some position for the city to help set an example between the violence and stuff in the city. She gave T.I. some position. Sabrina Peterson, known as Glam University on social media, she comments and says something to the effect of, Keisha Lance Bottoms, you really need to do better because T.I. put a gun to my head. T.I. is a violent person himself, basically. How you gonna put somebody who is out here causing harm to people over the department that's supposed to be helping people not cause harm over people? That's the general gist of it. So from there, you know what I'm saying? Tiny chimed in. This person had a little clap back, and it created a circumstance by which young people, ladies, started writing into Sabrina and DMing her about the stories of their sexual escapades, allegedly, with T.I. and Tiny. Now, here is the common thread between all of the allegations, and at this point, it's about 30 people so far that Sabrina has allegedly gathered who have sent her stories of rape, sexual coercion, sex-induced sex, so on and so forth. The common thread between all the stories are Molly and cocaine. Everybody is saying that they were put in a situation where they were forced to do Molly, forced to do cocaine. For those that did Molly and didn't do cocaine, there are stories alleging that Tiny would get mad at them and try to basically fight them, saying, you think you better than the rest of these bitches that's trying to fuck my husband. What you here for then if you don't want to do it? And they then go on to do it. It's sad. Many of the stories account for girls being found in bathrooms, barely conscious, out of it, in pools of vomit. Some of the stories include girls saying they woke up and both their vagina and their anus was in pain. They could tell that something had happened to them. Another story alleges that T.I. made a young lady suck his dick for over 6 hours, resulting in her having to go to the hospital with tonsillitis. Another one of the stories says that T.I. gave her an uncurable disease, and then she references breakouts. So we have to assume that she's talking about herpes. It says that she knows several other girls that he has given that STD to, allegedly. Many of the females that have come forward in the story are all strippers. So it seems like the common routine is to go to the strip club, find a young lady, invite them back to a private party, do drugs, have sex, and the rest is history. Some of the girls included in some of these stories are saying that they've done it or have been in relation with them for years or months, ranging from LA to Atlanta. Magic City and Follies seem to be two of the most reverberating strip clubs that are coming up in these alleged stories. Y'all, if y'all go to Glam University stories before they're deleted, there is a lot of incriminating stories. And here is the reality of the situation, right? everybody's not lying. Okay? Now, here is the conversation, and here's the part of this that weighs heavy on my mind. Because we have this thing that we do in the black community where when somebody is our fave or we're a stand for somebody, the cognitive dissonance that we adapt, we automatically dismiss what's going on because that is our fave. I was scrolling through blogs like Neighborhood Talk, the Jasmine brand, and some others, and it is so disheartening and sickening, the comments from people. And I'm not going to lie to you, in a time of protect black women, it is so disheartening the amount of non-belief, doubt, and vitriol that is coming from other black women. The whole, why come out with it now? She just a bitter friend. Why they on social media and not the police? You know what I'm saying? We saw y'all do this with Bill Cosby. We saw y'all do this with R. Kelly. And if the Me Too movement did not teach us anything, it taught us to not question the victim and to take these people's word for face value if they said they went through rape, trauma, or a combination of the both. Now here's the thing, when you start dealing with celebrities and so forth, there's always that dynamic in that subsection of people out there who are in it for monetary and financial gain. There's also those people out there who put a little extra stank on it to make the story salacious. Here is the thing. Just using my rational, logical mind, there's not enough time in the day for Sabrina Peterson to sit home, draft up all of these fake stories, create fake accounts, then DM them to herself, right? Okay, when I went to Florida State University and got my degree in economics, them people taught me a whole lot about numbers and probability. Let's just say for the sake of sheer argument of the close to 30 victims, let's just make it a generous allowance and say 50% of them bitches is lying. They flat out lying, pulled this story out their ass, they made this shit up in the dream. That leaves 15 stories that we need to look at and scrutinize and say, now listen, this hurts me too. Because for whatever it's worth, I like T.I. and I like Tiny. I didn't even want to do this story. And the reason why I did not want to talk about it, and I'm going to tell you how things like R. Kelly goes on. The reason why I did not want to do this story is because I am friends, close friends, with a lot of people in Atlanta. The core of my entertainment influence circle is in Atlanta, where T.I. and Tiny rest somewhere in the middle of all of that. So now me adding to the noise now puts me in a situation where the homies looking at me crazy like, damn, you supposed to be part of the club, now you talking on it. That's how these things happen, and it hurts me to even have to do this story. But I don't make the news, I just report it, and here it is. I'm with a lot of y'all. I don't want this to be true. I don't want it to be true. I actually want every single last one of those girls to be a liar. I do, from the bottom of my soul. But the reality of the situation is I might have been born at night and not last night, and I'm fully aware that where there is smoke, there is fire. I have watched enough Law and Order SVU to know that when you got 30 something damn near stories of people who don't know each other, who are not connected, who didn't know that they was going to write in, who didn't know this was going to happen, and they're all coming forth with the same story, something has to be investigated and something has to be talked about. I'm going to tell you something. Social media is the worst thing that has ever happened to a lot of people. And one person in particular, while I love her personally, I think sometimes she gets so ignorant on social media and somebody needs to take her phone away, is Shekinah. Shekinah always finds herself in the middle of being the spokesperson for other people's issues that do not involve her, especially when it comes to Tiny. all right? And I get it. So that's my homegirl, that's my best friend. I'ma always take up for my homegirl. I get it, but part of that is playground, and another part of that is understanding that, baby, you are not that influential to the world that whatever you say on the live is gonna sway anybody left or right. Please stick to what you know, which is love and hip hop and hair. Nobody looks to Shekinah for truth, guidance, or anything in the middle. Here is what is unfortunate. From a legal perspective, based on what Shekinah has already said on her live, she has incriminated T.I. and Tiny and has given credence to these girls' claims. So quick to want to get on live and clap back at Sabrina, she uses the words, and I'm paraphrasing here, how about you tell them how you was the one helping them recruit the girls? Ding, 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 ding. I just put my lawyer prosecution hat on. Recruit the girls. Oh, so girls were being recruited. Okay, let us look into this further. The fact that you used the word, tell them how you was helping recruit the girls, says that there was a recruitment process going on. Now, when we start looking at the R. Kelly situation and the Jeffrey Epstein and the Ghislaine Maxwell situation, a third-party recruitment was a big component of what it is that was going on. Now listen, everybody has said for years that we knew T.I. and Tiny was having threesomes, and I don't have a problem with people being sexually liberated, all right? People do what they want to do in their marriage, and if that works for them, it works for them. But I don't think that we ever imagined it would go as deep as it looks as if things are about to go. Going back to the thing about the drugs and the Molly, you know, there is no secret that T.I. and Tiny, you know, indulge in pharmaceuticals. Now here's the thing, right? We all have our different varying opinions about drugs and alcohol. Some people think they're completely wrong. Some people think they're right. You know, other people think drugs and alcohol are cool just as long as they're done in a party setting and done in moderation, and as long as you're not doing heavy stuff. The heavy stuff includes heroin, crack, so on and so forth, like that. But whenever y'all hear me in my videos and I refer and I say things like, in my past I've done party drugs. Party drugs typically refer to weed, coke, Molly, and ecstasy. When people say party drugs or club drugs. So, you know, me being someone who's indulged in party drugs at one point in my life, I'm not shading them for that. I'm not going in on them for that. I can't go in on them for that. But I do know when I was out there in them streets, I definitely had a rule of conduct, which was I will never introduce nobody to no drugs, because if they fucked around and became a junkie or strung out on it, I didn't want to be responsible for it, and I did not want to be there and be a part of nobody's first time experience when it came to doing party drugs. And if you already rocked and you already knew what the fuck was going on and I threw the keyword out there and you responded, then let's go to the bathroom and do what we need to do. But outside of that, you know, that was never my thing. I will say too, in using those drugs, and I'm talking from experience, I'm not telling you what I heard, I'm telling you what I know, they do make you very horny, and they can make you perform longer in the bedroom, and shit, the sex is better when you high. That's just true tea. You know, I always said I'm never gonna let a bitch spray me with my tea. I'm gonna tell my shit first, okay? So, you know, I understand the whole drug-induced situation. I just never thought that it would result in forcing other people to do it and doing these big drug-fueled orgies. There is a common, very, very, very common thread between this story and R. Kelly's as it relates to all the parties involved. Some of the girls were talking about the security guards being involved, bouncers, drivers, so on and so forth. One girl even told a story where she came over and the security guard immediately gave her a cocktail, a Molly cocktail when she got there. And she said when she woke up, her coochie and her booty hole hurt, and come to find out, she didn't even have sex with T.I. and Tiny. T.I. had given him permission to have fun with the girl all night long, and she woke up with her stuff hurting. This is a hard one, y'all. And the thing about it is, as much as we want it to be true, everybody is not lying. going back to something, and I hate to bring her in this, God rest her soul, we do know that drugs is common within that camp, because T.I. and Tiny got caught one time with pills way back when, and God rest the dead, but Princess was found with cocaine in her system, which they believe led to her heart attack when she got into her accident. So we already know over there in that camp, partying is something that's very desensitized and that the people do. I told y'all this once before, and a lot of y'all got mad at me, and y'all was like, you need to stop trying to normalize people doing coke because that's what you do, or whatever the case may be. When I made the comment, everybody does it. I'm not meaning literally everybody does it, but figuratively, everybody does it. And more people do it than you think. Okay, y'all, I'm telling y'all what the fuck I know. You sitting up here with, like, me and my homegirls don't do it, and you just don't know your homegirl T. I'm telling you, once I got introduced to that life, I learned some things that honestly and truthfully I wish I did not know. And I learned things about some people that I wish I never knew. I have gotten high with people that you would never think have gotten high and have begged me to never tell nobody. I have gotten high with husbands that don't want wives to know. I have gotten high with wives that don't want husbands to know. I have gotten high with entertainment kids that don't want parents to know, baby. Everybody doing it. All right. Lastly, and this was the part of this video that I really did not want to do, because I don't want nobody to get mad at me by even linking them to this situation. But if I'm going to do the story, I have to do the story. As we've seen with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, people are going to jump ship and abandon T.I. and Tiny if this thing gets any more steam and begins to roll. And it looks as if this thing is about to garner a lot of attention, and if it keeps going, it probably will garner the attention of the state attorney. And yeah, social media can be a good thing, but it damn sure could be a bad thing. People are going to have to start disassociating with them, because if not, they ass is gonna fuck around and get swept into this whole thing. By no means necessary am I trying to implicate these next two people that I'm finna talk about, but I have to illustrate why people have to disassociate. Candy and Todd are very good friends with T.I. and Tiny. Candy and Tiny go back until they was young, okay? You can't say that Candy does not have a whiff of the things that Tamika does personally. As friends, we talk. But looking at this story, talking about people being drugged and taken back to a house, then going back to Real Housewives of Atlanta, when Portia made the comment about, and I heard you wanted to drug me and take me back to the house, even though that scandal has been put to bed, it's now reopened the lid off of that, and it's like, wait a minute now. Shit, bitch, it might be some damn truth to that rumor that was going on. And let me start out by saying, if Candy and Todd ended up watching this, I don't mean any offense. I'm not trying, in my mind, we are friends. But I'm just illustrating why it is going to be important from a public relations perspective, if this thing takes wheels, for people to begin to disassociate, because this is not the type of scandal that you want to be lumped into. And quite frankly, if I can be 100% blunt, it's going to be very hard for people to believe that y'all are friends as intimately as y'all are, and y'all are not aware, have a glimpse, have a clue of what it is that's going on behind closed doors around that bitch. Y'all might not know the ins and outs, but y'all know something. And I'm talking about that whole Atlanta crew. Toya, Rashida, Kelly, not Kelly Rowland, Lord, I'm about to put her in this mess. LaToya Luckett, Monica, all of them. Nobody wants to be associated with nothing like this. Nothing like this. This is just not a good look. As of now, nothing legal has happened, but I don't see how this will not end up on the desk of the state attorney's office. I would not be surprised as this thing begins to gain steam that Keisha Lance Bottoms rescinds her whatever, and that VH1 begins to drop their stuff, and people start rolling back support, so on and so forth. There's just no way that it can't happen. All we can do is sit back and watch things unfold, but I do challenge us as a people to challenge ourselves to think beyond the gut response of what now? I mean, why now? They just want money, they just bitter, they just mad, and if we supposed to be protecting black women, I think part of that protection is at least giving these people the benefit of the doubt to at least listen and dig a little deeper into what it is they're saying. Because the reality of the situation is, no matter how you slice it and dice it, everybody not lying. Even if 30 of them came forward and 28 of them lied, 2 of them is true and 2 of them is too much. The last thing that I do want to touch on is a lot of people gonna argue, well, they went right there, y'all knew what time it was, and you know, the definition of coercion encompasses fear of being embarrassed, fear of being blackmailed, giving drugs and alcohol to lower inhibitions, so on and so forth. So yeah, I may have went right there to have a threesome. You know what I'm saying? I may have gone over there to do that. But I wasn't down for all this other stuff that came along with it, and that rest in that area of coercion, rape, so on and so forth. At least they were smart enough. All the girls say that they took their phones and put them in the basket. Some of the girls even said when they wasn't down with it and wanted to leave, they couldn't even get their phone back to call an Uber, so on and so forth. It feels very predatory. I should leave this video mentioning a lot of the girls state that it is Tiny who is actually the aggressor in the situation. She's the one who's doing the loud, dirty talking, calling them bitches, and you better do this and you better do that, and you just want to fuck my man like the rest of these bitches. They all say Tiny is the madam of the situation. One of the stories even implicated Shekinah as being a third-party person to help recruit the girls for this situation. So words to the wise, I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm just being real. Shekinah, you might want to be quiet, and you might want to distance yourself from this thing publicly. I'm not saying don't support your friend, but you also might want to get some legal counsel as well, because if this thing takes wheels and your ass been around or your ass gets subpoenaed because you know something, this is not going to be good. Y'all, I wish I was coming at y'all reporting something better than what I am. I don't make the news, I just report it. It is what it is. That's all I got. Ain't got no more. Be sure to like and subscribe, and you got my commitment. I will be following this story to the end and updating y'all on its developments. Talk to you later, girl. Bye.